This is the Cloner Alliance UHD 4K Pro recording device. This is their cinematic version right here. This little box can not only replace your DVR and save you about $10 a month in rental fees, but people have found ways to make money with this box. And if you'd like to know more about it, well, keep watching because you're watching Blue Collar Guy. Okay, we're back. So today we're talking about the Cloner Alliance UHD 4K Pro recording device. So this little box can record on a flash drive, and I'm also going to try it with a flash drive key where I put in one of these, which is a little SD card. And you can even use micro SD cards with one of these little converters. But I'm also going to try to record onto one of these older hard drives. This is a Seagate 2 terabyte hard drive, and you can pick one of these up fairly inexpensively. So I would think that this would be a good option as well. And with this box, it can actually record up to 8 terabytes. So you can plug up to 8 terabytes into it, and that's quite a bit of storage. And I would think that that would be very appealing for a lot of people, especially people that want to record using this as a portable DVR. Because if you know anything about DVRs, you can't really remove the hard drive. It's built into the DVR. But if I put it on one of these little SD cards, well, now I can take this and I can move it around. I can put it on my phone. I can put it on a tablet. I can do all kinds of more versatile things with that medium that I couldn't do with the regular DVR. So this little box is becoming quite popular because of its versatility. Now, the other thing that you can do with it is if you're a YouTuber and you need a backup recording device, so if you want a recording device to back up any recordings on your channel, because a lot of cameras will only have one SD card. That's right, one SD card, unless you get the more expensive FX30 or something along those lines, which is going to run you around $2,300 to $2,500. But if you're using a Sony ZV-E10 and you're running that through a video switcher, well, you can also use this through your video switcher, through your program output, and then you can have dual card slot recording at the same time, because the lag on this guy is actually pretty good when you're recording through the HDMI input. So before I go any further, I just want to say full disclosure that Cloner Alliance did send me out this device for the purpose of review. However, this is not a sponsored video, meaning they did not pay for the production of this video. I was not provided any script to follow. None of those things have happened. They send me out the device, I pretty much say what I want about it, and then we go from there. Also, I don't use affiliate links, meaning that if you buy anything from a link I put in the description, I don't get a commission on it. I don't want a commission. I'm not an Amazon affiliate. I'm not a Cloner Alliance affiliate. If I put a link in the description, it means I truly believe that the device works and that this is where you can find it the easiest way. Now, if you're new to the channel, I also want to let you know that I don't ask for membership fees. I don't ask for Patreon. I don't ask you to buy me a coffee. All I ask is watch the video all the way to the end. And if you find that the video is getting a little long in the tooth, just put your playback on double speed. I'll sound like a chipmunk, but you'll still understand everything that I have to say. So let's take this box out of this box and see what you get with the box. I'm going to take this out of here. We're going to see what you get. Remove this remote control over here and take this out of here. Whoops. Now, I did briefly look at it, but I didn't really touch it. I just wanted to see if it was intact and if anything was damaged. I always have to let any collaborators know if there's any damage or if they have to send me another model, and this one seemed like it was just fine. Now, I got some good news, is they offer very good customer support. So I've watched a lot of videos on this box, so I do a lot of research, and I do that so that my videos don't look the same as all the other ones. I'm just regurgitating a bunch of information, which is one of the reasons why I want to use this, because I didn't see a lot of videos hooking one of these up to it, and I certainly didn't see a lot of videos where they're using an SD card with an adapter, like so. So if you plug one of those in like so, that's the type of format that I would like. On this side here, I've got one of these USB-C and then I can just plug that in there. And then on this one, I've even got a converter, and this one comes in handy if you have a case on your phone and you want to just plug it in that way. But for this purpose, it's just going to plug in using this one here, and this is a USB 3. Now, this one here that I'm using here is a JJC high-speed key. So make sure that you get a high-speed unit instead of a regular one, otherwise your data transfer might not be good. So I'm just going to go through the instructions, and it's very pictorial, which is nice. A lot of people will need that. And this one here, like I said, is their cinematic version, so it does 4K 24. And you can set the clock and the time zone and all that other good stuff so that you can record shows and things like that. So if you're using a cable company, and I'm just going to go back to me for a second. So if you have a cable company and you're paying for your cable in that way, you are allowed to record your own content. I will warn you though, if you share that content with anybody else, that would be a violation of copyright infringement, because now you're in possession of copyrighted material and you're distributing it. So you want to be careful of that. But if you're just recording things for your own viewing and you just want to be able to make them a little more mobile, so those DVRs are big for a reason. They're big because they don't want you to move them around. They don't want you to take them from place to place. They want them to be big and clunky, and they don't want you to take all those movies and put them on here so that you can watch them later on a tablet or on a phone. They don't want you to make them portable, in other words. But with this box, you can, and that is appealing to a lot of people because you can record a lot of your shows, and then if you go on a trip or on vacation, you can watch those shows. So let's go back to the downward shot. We'll continue on. Okay, so it does MP4 files, and I'm just going to zoom in a little bit here because I have that ability, and just let it focus. So it tells you if things don't play. Now, there is a function on these devices called HDCP, and that's to protect the people from having copyright material recorded. But there is a bypass. I'm going to show you the bypass because it falls under a thing called fair use. So under fair use, you are allowed to record snippets of recorded material that is copyrighted, and you can use it. And I'm going to show you how you can turn that off. And it's just a simple function, takes like 5 seconds. It's not a big deal at all. Now, some files we're going to be put in the FAT32 format, and a single file will be recorded at 4 gigabytes, just so that you know, and anything larger than that will be broken up into separate files. Now, you can record 16 gigabytes at 3 hours, so you can change settings in the menu. We're going to get into that as well. And the other thing too is that you can install a microphone on here, because this is one of the ways that people make money with this box. I'm just going to go back to me really quick. Okay, so a lot of gamers buy this box because not only can you hook it up to a gaming console, you can also hook it up to a laptop. So I have a gaming laptop. Now, I don't play games, but I have a gaming laptop because I do video editing, and you need the same type of GPU for that. So on here, I have an HDMI out. So I can go HDMI out, and I can screen record directly onto this box, which will record either onto a portable hard drive, a flash drive, or an SD card. So I will have my choice in how I want to record. So that's kind of nice. So that is one of the most appealing things about this box for gamers, because if you have a game that's very popular like Minecraft, and I did do my homework on Minecraft, it is one of the most downloaded games that you can get. But there are different versions of that game. There are versions that go on that computer, there are versions that are for a console, and there are versions for a Mac computer. So how would you share that in one medium? Well, you would have this box, and it wouldn't matter which one you recorded from, because it just converts it into a video file. So it doesn't matter if it's a video game console, a Mac, a PC, it doesn't matter what type of console, as long as it has an HDMI output, this can record that, and you can even voice over with the microphone input, and I'm going to show you where that is. Now we have this unique, and don't throw this away, this is a USB-A to micro USB cable, but this is for the UVC input. So this is when you're connecting to a computer and you want to do it that way. Now it also includes a nice HDMI cable, and I'm sure this is a 4K compliant cable. We'll take this out because we'll probably be using this as well. So I like to use the hardware that comes with these devices because this is the hardware that you're going to get, and I think that is the best way to make sure that everything is fair and honest when I'm testing this stuff, because you shouldn't have to go out and buy different types of cables when you're using these boxes, and it also is a good test for the performance. Okay, so the remote does not come with batteries. There's no batteries in there, so we'll have to get some of those. And then I've got this. So everything was packaged fairly good. Okay, so I do like the feel of this remote control. It feels really nice. It's got nice soft buttons here, record, start, stop, display, and this little button over here. Now this little guy right here, is for taking a snapshot. So you can take a screenshot of anything that you're watching, which is a nice feature. And there's your playback. Now it also has separate audio functions for the microphone and for the audio out. Here's your play, pause, your delete, video, image, and menu, back, and all of these regular, and then of course your display. So now let's take a look at the box. Of course, the barrel adapter, which is your standard adapter, and it's not too bad of an adapter. What do we got running here? It looks like 0.4 amps and just your standard adapter. Yep. This is a UL listed adapter, by the way, and it is a barrel style adapter. Okay, so let's take a look at this guy right here. She's upside down. And of course, we have the Pro designation, 4K, because they do make a 1080p version of this box, and this is the 4K cinematic version because it does 24 FPS. If you look up here, I've got line in, line out, and mic. So this is for your audio. And then I have the H.265, H.264 format button, and I want to make a quick note that this is an important button because if you run into that HDCP copyright problem on streaming boxes, well, then you'll hold this down for about 5 seconds. And then it deactivates that, and then you can record. But I'm just going to go back to me really quickly. So one thing I will let you know is that once you deactivate the HDCP function, that means that that is the copyright protection. So every box that you plug this into may have that signal that prevents copyrighted material from being copied. So when I take this box and I hold that button down, which is this little guy right here, for 5 seconds, now I've turned off that or deactivated that, and now I can copy from literally any source. So just be aware that you do not want to get into trouble for copyright infringement. So if you're using this to make movies or copy movies from pirate streaming boxes, or if you're getting things off Internet Protocol TV off your computer and then putting them on here, just be aware that you could get yourself into a lot of trouble. So always follow the local laws of your country, because every country has different laws when it comes to copyright infringements. Okay, so now that we've looked at this part of the box, and this is your IR receiver, by the way. Now on this side, this is where you connect it to your PC using that cable that I showed you. Now this one here is for your storage. So if you want to hook up the flash drive, you'll plug that in like so. So now I can record to a USB stick, or if I plug in this little guy right here, I can record directly to an SD card, or if you really want to get tricky, a micro SD card. This is a 128 gigabyte micro SD card. And on this side here, I've got a USB-C. So it's a handy little converter that I use, and I use it for video editing all the time. So if I didn't want to plug this in, then I would just take this out, and I would take this portable hard drive. Now this is a 2 terabyte hard drive, and I can plug this directly into the box like so. And now I've got this hard drive connected to the box, and I've got 2 terabytes of storage just like that. And we're going to test this. We're also going to test this just to make sure that they both work just fine. Okay, so on this side of the box, we have HDMI out, HDMI in. This is for your power source, and we have an on-off button. And this is a nice on-off button because it has a designated click, a nice satisfying click on, which stays in, and a click off, which protrudes out. So if I look at from the side there, you'll see it sticking out. And if I push it in, it'll stay in all the way. And I like these type of power buttons because they're very tactile. In the total darkness, you can tell if it's on or off, and that's the important thing. Now, if you look around the edge, you'll see that you've got a little bit of an RGB lighting situation here. And this box glows different colors depending on the format that's going into it. So when you look at this, you have a little bit of a ring around here, and this lights up. Now, with this little guy here, if it is a stable blue color, you're going to have a 4K signal. So stable blue means 4K, and if it's green, it's a 1080p signal. And if it goes from back and forth, it means that it's hunting for a signal, that you don't have a good signal. So always remember that the colors also mean something. Okay, so now on the bottom of the box, I'm just going to cover this up with my finger because I don't want to show the serial number. It has a lot of cooling area, so it can get a lot of air generated, because if it's recording in 4K, it's going to heat up. That is normal. So we're going to hook up this box, and we're going to test it with different tasks. I'm going to use it as like a DVR, so I'm also going to hook it up to my video switcher. Now, why would I do that? Well, my video switcher has one SD card slot. And when I'm doing my videos, I would like to have a backup. So for my personal use, I'm going to be using this box as a backup so that if one card fails, if I get a corrupted card or a bad card, or it just doesn't record to that card, I have a backup over here, and I can even record onto a hard drive, which means I'm not swapping out cards and things like that. I've got a bigger format, and then I can take that hard drive and I can take it over to my computer for my editing and that sort of thing. I don't have to keep swapping things in and out. I can add or delete files. It'll be a lot more convenient for me. So for my purposes, this is a good box if you're a YouTuber and you want to do backup recordings. Also, if you have a video monitor, but it doesn't have the ability to record, so let's say you're a cameraman and you have a monitor and you want to use your monitor to record from. Well, you can also use this to do that. Now, why is that handy? Well, because a lot of cameras may only have one SD card. As I said before, you might want to have a backup. And a lot of camera monitors have an HDMI out, which allows you to record in 4K. So that's going to come in handy if you want to make a backup recording from your cameras. Now, I will say that it doesn't have a portable battery storage on this, but you can get portable batteries which can have those barrel connectors, and as long as the voltage is compatible, because if I look at the bottom of this barrel connector and I look at the adapter, it will tell me that if the sleeve is negative or positive, which means that I can get one of those external batteries with the same type of connector, and then I can power this in a portable way. So there is a workaround for that if you need it to be more portable, if you're using it to record on site.
You didn't tell us the good news yet, okay? Go on, Jack, tell us.
Only if she'll promise to do that again.
So we're going to switch from the video switcher to that file right now. So I want you to take a look at the colors and the reproduction of the video. Take a look at any motion blur, any artifacting, because this is a good example. Now, I would have loved to show you movies and things like that, but again, there's copyright rules that I have to follow for YouTube's guidelines.
The big show.
Felt like a long round, but I don't think it was 4 hours.
Yeah, there's spoilers tonight, right? Because this fight is not, I wouldn't call.
But I can assure you that the video quality is really, really good. You can do 4K 30, 4K 24. If that's not enough, they make a model which can also do 4K 60. And I think that that might be a good choice for people as well. The remote control on this is also different than that model as well. But I don't think that that is a Bluetooth remote. I think it is also an infrared remote. So if you're hoping that that model has a Bluetooth remote, I don't think it does. I could not find any information on that remote control, but when I looked at it very closely, I also noticed it had an IR receiver, just like this one does. I could not find any information that the remote control for the device was also Bluetooth. And this is why I recommend to Cloner Alliance to change that. Get a Bluetooth remote control system because they will communicate a lot easier, faster, and more efficiently than just an IR remote. If you're not too sure what IR remote is, it means that this is emitting an infrared light that you can't see with the human eye, but you can see with cameras. So if I was to shine this into a camera like this, you'll see a blinking light over here. So I'm going to cover all of the other positive things that you can use this for. So, a lot of hotels, they don't have very good Wi-Fi, things like that. Some do, some don't, but you never know where you're going to be. And if you just want to entertain yourself, maybe on the train, if you're taking a train and you want to watch a movie, you can record everything you need on here, and then you can just watch it on your tablet. You don't have to worry about connecting to Wi-Fi or using up your data or anything like that. It can come in handy for that, be a real time saver and a good money saver for people that do those things. The other use that you can use it for is if you're transferring older video materials such as VHS tapes and you want to convert them to a digital format such as one of these little SD cards. Or you want to put them on a hard drive like I'm recording to right now. Again, I'm recording directly to a hard drive using the Cloner Alliance. I'm not using the other card. I'm using the Cloner Alliance for the rest of this video. And this is what it sounds like when I have a microphone hooked up through my video switcher and I'm being recorded. Did you notice any sound quality difference? Did you notice any video quality difference? And as far as latency goes, well, we're going to see if my voice sync up to the video, because that would be a latency issue. But keep in mind, I'm using a wireless microphone hooked in through a video switcher, and the box is recording my video. One thing that I can tell you from looking at all the other videos on Cloner Alliance products is that their color science is pretty good. And believe me, I've dealt with devices where it messes up the color. That can take like an hour to try to fix that, because you have to somehow find out how to undo what it did and then redo it the right way. And if you're trying to match footage, well, that can be another issue. So if you're recording things like movies, you want the movie to look as if you were watching it on the TV screen. You don't want it to alter it or make it look worse, because then you're going to say, well, I'd rather just watch it live because it looks better live than it does in the box. Well, I can assure you that the picture quality is going to be almost identical. I could not tell visibly the difference between the recorded version of a movie and the movie when I was playing it through the other means. So it looked like the same movie, and if you can't tell the difference, that is a very, very good thing. So when it comes to replacing a DVR, I think that this is a good alternative, because you can set up to 3 different schedules and you can record at 3 different times, but you do have to pick the channel in which you're going. So if you've got it in record mode and you start changing channels, It doesn't have a separate tuner where it can figure that out. It's going to record whatever channel you're set on. So just remember that. That's important, because you're going to say, well, I wanted it to record this show, but I ended up recording CNN. But, well, what were you watching last? Well, CNN. Well, that's why it recorded CNN, because that's where you left it. If you're not at home, you don't have to worry about that, but you do have to make sure it's on the channel that you want to record. It will deal with the time, but you have to deal with the channel. So one of the ways people can make money with this box is they take old videos and they put them in digital format. And a lot of people will charge anywhere from $15 to $30 per VHS tape. Now you will need to get a cable that can change the composite outputs of a VCR to HDMI format. So it's basically either an S-video cable or a composite cable, and on the other end of it, it will have an HDMI plug. And once you plug it in, then you're going to get a signal. You can either put it on one of these, or you can put it on a USB stick, or you can put it on a hard drive. So if you're doing a lot of archiving of old footage, you can have up to 8 terabytes, and you can archive all of that footage, and then afterwards you can even edit that footage. Again, it's just putting it in an MP4 format, and I'm recording it at, I think, H.265 or H.264, and it's not going to matter with my video editing software in any way, shape, or form. I do recommend that you set it at high bit rate, because you're going to get the best resolution when you have things on high bit rate. What is the difference between high bit rate and low bit rate? Low bit rate will make your storage go farther, but high bit rate will give you better quality video. So that's the simplest way I can explain it. High bit rate will have less artifacts, and low bit rate gives you more storage. So you can store a lot more information with lower bit rate than you can with that. It also saves energy. So in action cameras, low bit rate will conserve battery life as well. It doesn't use as much energy, and the device will also run a lot cooler. I'd really like to thank Cloner Alliance for sending me out the UHD4 Pro. I think it is an excellent recording device. And if you look at my color now versus the color when I first started, I think that you're going to see that there was no difference at all. And I'm also betting that the audio didn't need to be fixed either. I bet that the audio is in perfect sync and everything is fine. As far as the output latency goes, well, I found that it's very minimal and actually wasn't a big deal breaker at all. So one thing I'd like to point out is I have seen mirrorless cameras that are worth thousands of dollars that have more latency on their output than this box does. So that speaks very highly of the processor that's in this box. It is doing a very good job at recording. So that's it for this video. Take care, be safe at work, and I will see you at the next video. And remember, I'm recording this with the Cloner Alliance. Bye.